The January 6th committee just subpoenaed 6 people linked to the Trump campaign's fraudulent electors plot. That was a scheme that we've reported on extensively, which would try to create the conditions to potentially steal the election. This is brand new. The committee writes about a, quote, coordinated strategy where lawmakers in states Trump lost were urged to, quote, reclaim their authority by sending an alternate state of electors. Now, alternate is one way to put it. You may have even heard that from some of the people explaining what they were up to. Fraudulent and fake is another, and whether it's illegal is literally under criminal investigation. The committee seeking documents and depositions by mid-March, that's a fast timeline, and subpoenaing someone who's in the thick of all of this and the midterms, the chair of the Arizona Republican Party, Kelly Ward. Now, she has been trying to hide phone records from the committee, and the committee says that she's been acting as a, quote, purported electoral college elector dating back to December 2020. The committee has many reasons to suspect this. One of them involves something that happens a lot these days. People are not only caught on camera, but sometimes seem to be telling on themselves. This was filmed and posted online on Twitter by none other than the Arizona Republican Party. Take a look.
We, the undersigned, being the duly elected and qualified electors for the President and Vice President of the United States of America from the state of Arizona, do hereby certify the following. For President, Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida, number of votes 11. For Vice President, Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana, number of votes 11.
To put it mildly, I'm not sure duly elected means what they think it means. It is never a good idea to publicize your efforts to steal an election, and we've covered this quite extensively and fairly here on The Beat. If you've followed our coverage, you know there are things that might be untrue but are legal. People lying in public about what they think happened in the campaign. And then there's a clear line that's now under criminal investigation when you start to take actions, overt actions, to deceive or submit false statements, for example, to the government at the state or federal level. You may be committing a crime. I say that in all seriousness if anybody at the Arizona GOP is watching tonight for future reference. Now, Trump White House aide Peter Navarro has been in the thick of this because he says and admits he was working on what sounded like a related plot, driving towards January 6th to also delay or decertify the results that showed that Biden was the lawful winner. So he denies now being involved or aware of the electors plot, which is striking because he admitted a lot, but not that. The electors plot is something that Trump aide and lawyer Boris Epshteyn did admit to. We'll show you both interviews here on The Beat. Alternate or fraudulent electors. When did you become aware of that plan?
That's not part of my remit or on my radar.
Are you saying here tonight you never heard about that until it became public in the press, or while you were in government you might have heard about it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
My focus, Ari, was simply on the Green Bay sweep plan.
That was the focus. The other stuff not on the radar. But was it on the incumbent departing president's radar? Well, that's a big question. The committee notes in the letter tonight that Ms. Ward reportedly spoke with Trump about election certification issues in Arizona. Here's what the RNC is saying today. They have a story where they say, everyone needs to understand, they were actually only referring to the electors plot in the now widely controversial and highly rebuked statement that what was going on January 6th was a legitimate political discourse and that activists were engaged in that legitimate discourse. Now they say by dealing with this plot to submit false, perhaps perjurious certificates to Washington, to the government. Now, we'll get into that with our guests because one question that comes to my mind is how bad is your damage control if you're still defending fraud but saying, well, we meant fraud, not the violence? You follow the news, so you probably remember that was a very controversial move that Mitch McConnell himself rebuked and broke with because the RNC very clearly defended the violence of that day and falsely lied about it and falsely asserted that it was discourse. It was not. The January 6th committee now has subpoenaed 14 people, though, linked to this scheme already. Those were previous depositions scheduled to begin as soon as tomorrow.